This man, his first name is Luis, lives in Guatemala, returned there after illegally immigrating to the United States, where he earned enough money to make payments on his small home. When he was deported, he lost that income.
I went to Postville because I wanted to build a house for my son and my wife, and I couldn't do it here because there's no work.
Luis's decision to seek work in the United States isn't unusual, particularly for Guatemalan natives. That Central American country of 13 million people is one of the poorest in the hemisphere. 3 out of 4 Guatemalans live below the poverty level, according to the World Bank. In fact, the country's president recently declared an emergency because of the lack of food. In the country's rural areas, the problem is even worse. The World Food Program says 70% of children in rural areas under the age of 5 are malnourished. As a result, thousands of Guatemalans like Luis attempt a difficult, dangerous journey north each year. Guatemalan men, women, and children are trafficked within the country, as well as Mexico and the United States, for forced labor. That according to the U.S. Embassy in Guatemala. Quoting from a recent report, anti-trafficking police and prosecutors remain plagued by a severe lack of funding and resources. Police also remain crippled by high staff turnover and a lack of special training. Credible reports indicate corrupt public officials continue to impede anti-trafficking law enforcement by accepting or extorting bribes, sexually exploiting children, falsifying identity documents, leaking information, ignoring trafficking activity in brothels and commercial sex sites. While the government made efforts to dismiss some public officials from their positions, the embassy concludes it did not attempt to criminally investigate or prosecute any of them. Guatemala is, of course, just one example of the worldwide traffic in human beings, traffic that includes men like Luis, home in Guatemala now, but believed likely to eventually try to return to the United States. With photographer Keith Myers and reporters Mike McGraw and Laura Bauer, Dave Helling for the Kansas City Star.